guys, and welcome back to my channel. So excited to have you guys here to be finally talking about this movie. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the year because it is The Incredibles 2, which is so exciting because it's been 14 years since The Incredibles came out, and in my opinion, one of the best Pixar movies. Of course, like tell me right now it's not in your top 5. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do movie reviews as often as I can now, but I also do other things on my channel as well, so feel free to check that out. But right now, let's get on to the movie review because we have so many things to discuss. This is a very exciting movie. So this movie is directed and written by Brad Bird, which is a very comforting thing to know because he actually wrote and directed the previous Incredibles as well, which he actually won an Oscar for, which is also very exciting. Good on him. But it means he's amazing at what he does. So that was really comforting to know before watching this film. Originally, after the excitement of knowing that there's going to be a sequel to The Incredibles, it did make me a bit nervous because sometimes sequels tend to be so overhyped and overdone, especially when there's such a long gap between the sequel and the original. And I was just worried that The Incredibles was gonna fall into that category. But saying that though, Pixar does come out with pretty good sequels like Hello, Toy Story 2, one of the tops for me in my opinion. So having the same director and writer as the previous one just brings that kind of comfort to walking into this one. I just want to put it out there that this is a non-spoiler review, so if you haven't watched this movie, feel free to watch this. I'm not going to explain any plot details at all. So to start off, I just want to talk about some things that I didn't like about this film first before I get onto the good things, because the good outweighs the bad 100%. But I just want to go through those certain things first. The first thing, and it's pretty much the only thing basically, but in the third act, I just felt like the villain became kind of predictable and kind of lacked a bit of, lacked something. I don't know what, kind of predictable. No, I wouldn't say boring, but kind of heading in that direction, especially because there was such a hype around this villain throughout the movie and it got very intense and very exciting. Once you got into the third act and you kind of learnt more about this villain, that's when it was kind of like, okay, you're kind of predictable. That was a little bit of a letdown, but don't think that that ruins the movie. It doesn't. The third act is definitely one of the best parts of the film. It's a strong third act and it was so good. But anyway, let's get onto that later. The other thing that I want to mention is that this movie had such a strong start and it was so good at the start. But then about a half an hour in, it kind of reaches a point where it's just like not a lot is happening. It's just a lot of talking, a lot of that. And not that that was bad, it was still really good to kind of get that interactions between characters and stuff. But I kind of felt like it was kind of a lower point in the film. Not boring. I don't want to say boring because there's nothing about this film was boring. But it was just not as enticing and not as exciting. Even though the previous Incredibles had moments like that, it just worked so well. So I did find at one point myself thinking, I can already see that The Incredibles is better than this one. But the film was quick to change my mind. But anyways, that's pretty much all that I had a problem with in this film. Otherwise, I loved everything. So let's get on to what I loved, and there's a lot. There's a lot. The one thing that I was worried about and the one thing that this film stuck to was continuity. Besides the fact that this movie basically starts as soon as The Incredibles ends, that was obviously a great continuity note because it felt like 14 years didn't even happen. It felt like The Incredibles came out yesterday and this came out today. Bridged that gap so well. But it's not even just that. The characters felt the same. Everyone was who they were, and that was just so good to watch. Everyone just was the same. No one was overhyped. No one became dramatic. No one became too funny. So who they were in the original Incredibles is who they were in this movie. So they felt exactly the same, which is amazing. That's what I was worried about the most, as I was saying at the start of this video. One plot point that I really loved in this movie, which is noted in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler, but the roles reversed between parents. So it wasn't Mr. Incredible going out and finding the adventure and having the adventure, it was Elastigirl going out and doing that first and Mr. Incredible staying at home. That was so interesting to watch. I loved how Mr. Incredible was in this film with his kids. Him just trying to be a stay-at-home dad while the mum is out working. It was just, that whole family dynamic. It was really enjoyable to watch. It's relatable because it's like real problems that they have. Math questions or boy problems, like it's all really relatable and it's hilarious, and the stuff that it goes through with Jack, it's just, it's really funny. But that was just one of the best parts of this film, was the whole family dynamic and how heartwarming it was and hilarious, and seeing how all of them connect and stuff. And on the other hand, Elastigirl, she's freaking like crazy. She kicks ass, man. There were some parts of this film that got really intense and tiny bit scary. For me, if I was a kid watching this, I would have been petrified. Honestly, I would have shat my pants if I was watching this film as a kid. I haven't got a bit scared now as a 23-year-old woman. It reminds me of when I went and saw Finding Nemo in the cinemas, and the first 10 minutes of the film scared the absolute shit out of me. At one point I looked at my little brother and I was just like, are we watching a Pixar film right now? Like, what the hell? Like, I was terrified. It was really good though. I really loved the second half of this film in particular. Like, it was amazing. The comedy was on point. The action was like crazy awesome. It was probably one of the best superhero movies I've seen. Honestly, it was just so good. And I've seen a lot of people describing it as like the Fantastic Four movie we should have gotten, which I totally agree. But one important thing is they didn't stray from the family aspects of this film. They really kept up the ideas of you gotta support each other as family, you gotta protect each other, which made it feel like there was more at stake with this film. So that's why it felt, one of the reasons why it felt a bit more intense. Standout characters for me, 100% is Mr. Incredible, but I think he's just hilarious from the get-go. Surprisingly, I did not think that I would think this, but Jack was so good in this film. He was a total standout, humorous, and just used so well in this film. I also really liked Frozone in this movie because he was actually used in this movie a little bit more than The Incredibles. Not to say that he is a main character, I wouldn't say he is, but when he's used in this movie, it's really fantastic. The way he cares for the family and wants to help out, it's really shown in this film, which I really liked as well. Something that was there in The Incredibles, but shown a lot more in this one, which I really liked. Plus, Samuel L. Jackson's voice is so good for animation, honestly. Speaking of voices for animation, Craig T. Nelson as Mr. Incredible, I actually can't fault him. He was so good in the original and he was good in this one. Like I said before with Mr. Incredible, his voice is so good for animation. It's so good for that macho character that he's playing. And also Holly Hunter, she has the best mum voice for animation. It's kind of like this, like I can't even, I don't know. And Dash was really good as well. He actually sounded exactly how he did in The Incredibles. Even though it's a different voice actor, they really got the kids spot on. So overall, I want to give this movie a 4.7 out of 5. So that is like, wow. I'm so happy with the film, especially sleeping on it because I saw it last night. Waking up this morning, I just liked it so much more. I love it when you walk out of the cinemas and you're happy with the film that you saw, especially when it's such an exciting movie. Like, this was exciting, like it's Pixar. Anyway guys, this is the end of the video. That is everything that I thought about this movie. I hope you enjoyed the review. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and I will see you next time. Bye guys.